You all have made it to Thursday, and I'm so glad to see that you survived last night because I know you all were out in these canned streets. I am so excited to be here today for what I know will be a really inspiring conversation. That's just based off of who I have on this panel. So we are going to jump right into it. Since 1954, Sports Illustrated has been sharing the stories of countless athletes and the sports they love and their outstanding journalism. They've been at this for a very long time. Now they're not just covering these stories. Sports Illustrated, in partnership with the renowned sports executive Jerry Solomon and the E.W. Scripps Company via our Scripps sports president, Brian Lawler, are creating opportunities for athletes and fans to engage in a new, unprecedented way. This October, get ready for the first ever Sports Illustrated Women's Games. That deserves a round of applause. This is 6 sports, y'all. Over 6 nights, we're gonna have gymnastics, we are going to have volleyball, we'll have basketball, flag football, judo and wrestling, and last but not least, tennis. This is gonna be an international all-star team with some of the best athletes from around the world. There will be Team Americas versus Team World, and we're gonna be competing in Oceanside, California. So we at the E.W. Scripps Company are really thrilled that we'll be broadcasting these games live on ION. Yes, thank you. From October 28th to November 2nd, and so we are really gonna continue to celebrate how women continue to shape and propel sport culture forward. So I want to put some context around this because when we think about these games and this level of competition, the first thing that really comes to mind are the Olympics. Like, that's the first thing when I think about the scope and scale of this event. The first modern Olympics were in 1896. In 1900, the first women competed. There were 22 women who competed primarily in golf and in tennis. Now, 125 years later, here we are, also in France, because 1900, the France Olympic Games. And so we are here now in France again, making history. France has seen some major competitive milestones for both Nancy and for Sloane. And I'm just excited to be able to tell this story here at Sport Beach in Cannes with Stagwell. So, Rich, tell us the why behind these games and why Sports Illustrated is a front runner and not jumping on the bandwagon of women's sports. You all have been true to this. You're not new to this.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. I don't think anybody can call Sports Illustrated a bandwagoner. We've been doing this for 70 years. So at the core, we believe that Sports Illustrated are great storytellers. And when you're bringing 140 of the best female athletes together for effectively the first ever women's Ryder Cup across a multitude of sports, you're gonna get a chance to tell stories about these amazing women. And that's what we do best. There are a number of these sports that only get talked about once every 4 years.
Yeah.
And there's a number of athletes that while they may be high profile in their country, they're coming to the US or otherwise for the first time. So some of the best moments from watching the Olympics or watching Final Four on TV or otherwise are the stories about the amazing athletes and their lives. And this is something that we take a lot of pride in. Obviously, the opportunity to partner with those amazing athletes is also something we've cultivated those relationships over such a long period of time. And so for us, it's a really exciting opportunity, but at the same time, it's something we're really emotionally invested in. And if we're able to do this the right way, our goal is to do the SI Women's Games every 2 years and can continue to cultivate those relationships going forward.
That's amazing. It's taken us some time to get to this place. It really has. And so, Nancy, you've played such a pivotal role in evolving women's sports. You have been an early supporter of the Sports Illustrated Women's Games. I want to talk to you about the growth of women's sports from 30 years ago to today. You've seen it all. Can you tell us what you believe is the major change you've seen around the growth of women's sports?
Well, there's always been great women athletes, from Babe Didrikson to my friend Tenley Albright and Billie Jean King, Jackie Joyner Kersee. They've been great athletes. The difference was so many years ago, women needed permission to get a credit card. So it's the perception of women that has been changing, and that we're capable and that we can do things and we can get our own loans, and you don't need permission from somebody else to do it because we are smart, capable, and strong. And I've been back behind the women's games because I think, well, first of all, my husband created it, his idea, so.
Yes, Jerry Solomon,
Jerry.
everybody, yes.
But it's such a great opportunity for women to be seen. We're not seen enough. I was sort of at the forefront at the great time of tabloid journalism and having to go through that. But now there's a nice opportunity with social media to actually create our own story and get the stories right. I know you've had a difficult time, Sloane, with sometimes with social media. It can be challenging, but we can also use it to our benefit as well and make sure the stories are told properly, where years ago we didn't really have that control.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to have some more control and to be visible so our youth have something to look up to, so the girls can see this, that there's strong athletes. They've been there, but we just weren't able to see it. I mean, myself competing at the national championships, when I was fifth, 4 were on TV. When I was fourth, 3. When I was third at the national championship, 2 were on TV. I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
Wow.
It's never going to happen.
Wow.
So it just depends on probably the sports ahead, how much time that we had on air. But for Billie Jean to change it really changed the viewing, like, oh, women are strong. Well, yes, we are. And so I think this gives women more opportunity than once every 4 years, which is really important to have that representation.
And we've been strong. And I think, Nancy, you've been a great example of how you can grow beyond sport. You are not only an Olympic medalist, you're a mom, you are a producer, you are a philanthropist. And I think this next generation has taken some cues from that. I look at Sloane. Sloane, you are a newly minted brand founder. You have your own foundation. You also just earned an MBA. Now you're about to go after your PhD. Ma'am, first of all, where are you? Yes. Where are you finding the time to do all of this? But also tell us what you're up to outside of tennis, and then why you think opportunities like the Sports Illustrated Women's Games are so important for female athletes.
Yeah, so I do a little bit of everything, and I don't know where I find the time to do it. I just keep going, put my head down. But I do feel like the games are really important, because I feel like obviously we know people are investing in women's sports, but how they're investing in women's sports, they're not just putting money behind anything. They're putting money behind something that actually will matter and people will see and will have a really big impact. And I think when I spoke to Jerry the first time, they were like, oh, let's do a Zoom to see. Well, I'm playing in the SI games, just so you know.
You all, that's breaking news. Yes.
And Rich, I've been on like 2 panels with Rich, and he's literally never even said that I was playing, so it's fine. But when I spoke to Jerry the first time, he's like, oh, I want to explain like what we're doing, what's happening. And I was like, okay, great. And he spoke for like 4 minutes straight. And I said, okay, great, I'll do it, like sold. And he was like, okay, that's it? And I was like, yeah, end of Zoom, we're good. So I think when you have someone so passionate about it and the message is clear, what they want to accomplish there is clear, the movement that they're trying to start is clear, and I think for all women athletes, being able to have that support, I think is very important. And we all play in, well, I don't play in a league, but we have like a tour, and I think people who play on team sports, like they have that support, but I think this is different. This is people outside of your sport or your league showing that they are putting money behind you and they want people to see you and they want to invest in you. And not only a single sport, but multiple sports. I think that really does make a huge difference.
Yeah. Sloane has broken her own news. We were trying to hold it for this panel.
Yeah. Very exciting. No,
That was
great.
That's why you never told anyone?
That was wonderful. We would not.
No, but
We would have it no other way. You all are hearing it here first. Sloane will be participating in the women's games. Not just participating, she will be the America's captain of tennis. Woo. So the world better get ready. Also, we can announce a few more players just so that you can get a flavor for who is joining us. We have Jocelyn Roberson in gymnastics, Liz Kitley, the Aces, basketball, Jordan Poulter, volleyball, Phoebe Schechter, flag football, y'all. If you all have not been watching women's flag football, just you wait. And then Helen Marley's combat sports, judo and wrestling. These are really the women you all do not want to mess with. It's going to be pretty phenomenal. So there's certainly been a change, not only in how we view and consume women's sports, but in how brands are really supporting the next generation of athletes. Sloane talked a little bit about it, but Rich, you all cover this regularly. What are you seeing?
I think that we're still not past the 50-yard line. And I think that we need more support. And I think when it comes to women's sports as a whole, yes, there's been great investments made, and it's representing a larger portion of certain brands in their marketing budgets. But the only way that this is really going to work, and the only way we can put this on the same stage as the men's sports that are out there, is that if the brands truly get behind it.
Yeah.
And some of the feedback that I've been hearing from my friends in the industry and otherwise is that there's the great work you guys are doing with WNBA and NWSL and others, but there's a lot of people on our side of the business that are at risk adverse, right?
Yeah.
And you hear a lot about built if sold, right? And brands don't love built if sold. They want to see you put your foot in the ground. And so I think that when it comes to putting a 6-day women's sports invitational live on broadcast with a significant prize pool, every night is a different sport, that's stake in the ground. And I think that the response we've been able to get from the marketing community has been great. At the same time, we know that there needs to be more investment. Let's get past the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
And so if we can get even to the other side of the field, and hopefully over the next couple of years we'll do that, I think we'll start to see more robust platforms in the market and more experiential thinking and more innovative stuff rather than what we're seeing today, which in a lot of cases is a mirror from what's been going on in men's sports for too long.
Yeah, I think when we got into sports, and our president of sports, Brian Lawler, is here, and when we made the decision to make that investment, we were early movers in the space, and we knew we needed to be in the space. We wanted to be in the space, and it's paid off dividends, but you're right. We still need to see that growth in platforms and in partners and brands. Slowly but surely, we're getting there, but we're excited because I think these games and women's sport in general is helping to bring in younger, more diverse audiences, and so we love to see it. Nancy, you've been a lifelong athlete, of course, and supporter of women's sports. What do you think has been the biggest shift in the culture of these sports now?
Maybe the biggest shift is that people like Sports Illustrated and Ion Television is showing that gumption to get behind the women and
Yep.
and give that opportunity. That's huge for women athletes, for our future athletes. Just that, I feel like that's huge, and we're so thankful.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity, and I think it's really exciting. It's exciting for the athletes, exciting for female athletes to come together and support one another, and to just be there to witness like a new change. And it's so amazing to watch athletes now that they'll leave a sport and have a baby and come back and still be at the top and still be great and prove and show to the younger generation that you can maintain and be strong. You just have to put in the time, the effort, the energy, and it's great to have this opportunity together. So thank you guys for being behind it.
We're excited. I think, Rich, speaking of the game, we are 4.5 months away. I'm sweating a little bit, not just because it's hot in here, but literally we are close, and these games are going to be massive. What can people expect when they see this, when they see what we're doing on the ground and on our air? What can folks expect from the athletes, brands? What can they expect to see?
Well, I think the live competition is why everybody comes together, right? I mean, at the end of the day, when you can have the best athletes competing against each other in the sports that they love and the sports they play professionally, and 30-plus Olympic gold medalists and various others in the same room, the audience will be there. But I think the broader mission is what we can do when we have these women together, right? The conversations we can be having on the ground, the thought leadership, the activation, the fan festivals, the clinics. There's a reason to get everybody together, but then there's a wider purpose if you do it the right way. So as excited as I am about the games and the competition and the live broadcast and the winners, I'm equally as excited of just the impact we can make by getting this community together.
Yeah.
And the conversations that they can have amongst each other. Because I think if you, and I've been saying this and I really mean it, I feel like if we build an event through the lens of the athlete, which in a lot of cases doesn't exist, right? These events in a lot of cases are built through the lens of the broadcast, of the event of the sponsor. If we make this event great for the athletes, we got something.
Yeah, we have something good. Athletes are building their own brands. Sloane, tell us about it. I loved hearing you speak a little bit earlier about building brands versus how you approach your game in tennis. But tell us about athletes now and building your brands and the importance of it.
Yeah, obviously, your brand is who you are at this point. I think we've all realized that you're more than an athlete. You can be more than an athlete. And I think that for so long, it was you're only a tennis player. You're only a basketball player. You only can do one thing. And I think people are comfortable now with being more than one-dimensional, and they're comfortable with the opportunities that come their way, whether that be through other brands, whether that be starting your own business, whether that be whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about. And I think the opportunity there, especially in women's sports, like we spoke about earlier, is just there wasn't the opportunity before, right?
Yeah.
And I think some of that is people just having someone else to see who's already done it. I think that's a really big part of the representation of women being in those higher C-suite positions or in those higher jobs that you thought that maybe would never be a woman. I think that that's always inspiring to other people because you can just see that it is possible. And I think it looks different for everyone. I think for every athlete, like some people want to do foundations with pets, and some people want to do I work with kids, and other people everyone wants to do something different. And I think being able to feel that you have that support and that you're not alone and there's other people that have done it, I think that's really important. And I think when you start a business to actually make money or a small whatever that is, I'm like, that's a whole nother ball game, because if you're spending your own money, it's very tragic. But I do feel like it's such a learning process. I feel like it's very challenging, but as an athlete, any good athlete is always up for a challenge. So
Yeah.
I think that that's something that pushes people forward, is something that they haven't been able to tackle and haven't been able to really stick their teeth into. So I think it's a good thing because we're able to do so much more now.
I love it. Y'all, Sloane was telling me earlier about the fact that she is doing copywriting for her brand work. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. This is the important work. And it was refreshing to hear you talk about it. And so I want to talk a little bit about something you just said, which is pretty much if you see it, you can be it. And so you and Nancy have been role models for women and young girls. What advice would you two give to aspiring young women and young girls who want to go and forge a path like you all have done?
Well, I think for me, it would be just to show that, well, my sport, you fall down, you get back up, you keep on trying. It's like a life lesson. And right away, I think someone had tried to figure out the math that I've fallen at least 40,000 times, which, I don't know, maybe sounds like a little bit of an addict, crazy, but at the same time, I got up that many times. That's what that means. And I kept on pursuing and working hard. And it's like science. You don't get to somewhere, like you have to keep going and don't give up on yourself. If you love something, if you have passion for it, it makes it a lot easier. But you can find that within yourself and realize on those hard days, we're all stronger than we think. And it's not always easy to do, I think, because things can be frustrating. Right from the time young girls are running, they're like, oh, you run like a girl. What does that mean? Like, that is nonsense. We need to change the way we approach things and say, you're a good runner, or you could work on that. It's not good or bad because you're a girl. You're just good, or maybe need a little more work. But that's, I think, something to work towards. Yeah. Something like this can represent that change in approach, and right from the time they're young, and just encourage and be there for one another is huge.
You need to have a little gumption.
And a little
Sloane?
gumption.
I would say a little piece of, that's hard. I would say it's not if, it's when. I think we're always working towards something, but if you don't have anything to look forward to or work towards, you kind of get stuck. And I think for younger kids, I mean, it's kind of like a weird saying. They're probably like, what are you talking about? But I always think that for kids like playing a sport or trying something new, they always are like, am I going to be good? Or am I going to be able to do this? Or am I going to be able to shoot a basketball? It's like, it's not if, it's when. And I think a lot of that work has to be done with the parents and the coaches and making sure that they feel supported and that they can actually do it. But I always say it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when they do something, you're like, I can't do it, and get down on themselves. Like, well, you can't do it yet, but you got to get up and keep trying. You can't do it yet. Keep working at something and have that, if you like it, why don't give up?
That's
Don't
right.
give up. Have fun. Do it with a smile. Somehow you do better when you do it with a smile. Like lifts about 200 muscles, change the chemistry in your body just by smiling when you're doing something. You do better.
So we only have a few minutes left. Let's talk about bold predictions. What are your boldest predictions, all three, for women's sports in the next 5 years? This is free for all. Whoever would like to go first.
This was not on the list of questions.
I got to throw in one good one, Rich.
Okay. I think in the future, we want the SI Women's Games to be part of the conversation and be there every 2 years and be an opportunity that continues and grows and gets bigger and better. And I'm predicting that it will, because this is a great opportunity and people will see how amazing women can be.
I love it. We're counting on it.
I think right now, if you look at the list of athletes that are the top grossing athletes in the world in sports, every single one of them is a man. And my prediction would be that 3 of those slots are going to change, and hopefully more over time, because there are a number of amazing female athletes and just athletes in general that belong on that list. And they would be great brand ambassadors, but also platform creators. So I hope that my prediction would be that we're sitting here in a few years and that list is just not the same names we've been seeing for the last 10 years.
From your lips.
Right.
I would say, I said this earlier, that the smaller leagues, like the lacrosse leagues and the rugby leagues, women's hockey, all of those things, I think that those will be way more relevant by the time the next Olympics comes around. And I think that, of course, we want that narrative to change with how people are paid and how people consume women's sports. But I do think elevating the smaller leagues so that they're more at the forefront of women's sports gives the opportunity for brands to then support and back them and have more women be seen. And I think that's kind of what SI Games is doing too. So I think my prediction is that those lower leagues that are not as relevant now will be brought up, and that will bring more visibility to all women's sports in general, which then brings more money to every single sport that we play.
Yeah.
Keisha, you're not going to answer the same question? Come
No.
on. No?
You go. What's
Come
your
on,
prediction?
what's your prediction?
No, I ask the questions. I don't get asked. No, I think all of what you all have said, I would really like to be able to be in a place where we don't have to qualify that it's a female athlete. Wouldn't y'all? Like, athletes, regardless. I feel like we're still using qualifiers, and I don't know that that serves any of us, because every single athlete I know has a tremendous amount of discipline, a tremendous amount of strength. They are students of the game, and so to make a distinction to me seems a little bit unfair. So that's what I hope. That's my prediction. Yeah. Okay, last question. What are you most looking forward to at the SI Women's Games?
Well, it's now Sloane watching it for sure. I don't know what I'm most. I just think I'm most looking forward to seeing the excitement if you can go live. Any sport is so much more fun live, but definitely watch it on Ion. But we're
Thank you,
like,
Nancy.
You can, if you're there live, you can always record and be part of it still. You can rewatch, but to be there and be part of it and see the different sports that we don't see often, I think is great to see that representation of athletes. And I mean, I've never watched flag football live. But for kids. So it'll be great to see see that playing in, I don't know. I think it's all going to be an inspiration to see these things live, to see women being represented live and be there together, as you're saying,
Yes.
opening up different conversations and to be representing one another, work together as a team. You got the Americas versus the world. That'll be a lot of fun to be part of a team. For some that aren't athletes that are by yourself, to be part of a team is
Yeah.
really exciting.
Rich?
I'm looking forward to the change every night. Right? I think that, obviously it's going to be amazing to see Sloane play tennis, and I've had the chance to do it before. It's always awesome, right? And I think it's going to be great to be able to see the WNBA players that are going to play against each other that represent these, America's versus Team World. But I think coming back the next night and seeing flag football on an indoor arena league field, and then the next night and having gymnastics, and we got a really cool, different kind of event we're doing on the gymnastics side and combat sports. So, listen, I'm excited for what that audience is going to look like. I think it's going to look like a different audience than Monday Night Football. And I think that we're going to bring people in that are going to just love an event like this. So for me, I'm excited about the variations of what we're doing and cultivating that community, not just in one sport, but I think that there's a real opportunity to shine a light on some of the sports that aren't talked about as much.
Love it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being team captain. I love team events. They're my favorite part of the year. But I do think being able to see multiple events and actually go to them and support your friends or whoever it is that's playing, I think that's always really fun. And I think this is an entirely new event that's athlete focused, so everything will be for the athletes, which I think is so much better. So I'm really looking forward to just being there, being cool, bossing Rich around, and having everything be for the players and for the athletes. And I think that's something to look forward to.
I think that's great. I'm looking forward to you all, to the fans of sport, the lovers of sport, and showing up and hearing how you all receive the games. It's going to be pretty tremendous. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Stagwell and Sport Beach for allowing us to be here. And I want to thank you all for your time. Thank you for coming to join us. Have a great rest of the week.